So in this video, you will understand why US market has double the shares in Airbnb market than everywhere in the world. Now guys, if you're new to this channel, my name is Piers. I run GrowYourBnb.com. We've worked with over 1,400 properties all over the world. Now I must say, we've looked at all Airbnb accounts, and I run a team of 15 people, but one thing we wanted to know was see how many management companies are out there who runs in the numbers over 1,000, and there's not a lot in the world. And we are extremely humbled that we've had the opportunity to work with over 1,400 properties now across several Airbnb accounts, right? I've had access to over hundreds and hundreds of Airbnbbooking.com. Obviously we grow their brand, so we create brand for over hundreds and hundreds of Airbnb and short-term rental properties all over the world. And eventually to get them quality profitable bookings, long-term bookings. So if you're not into the short-term lets or 2-3 nights booking, then we're the person to come to. So look, I'm gonna talk about today all about the shares of Airbnb and how and what impact it's made to the investors. So firstly, Airbnb has made a stunning comeback after what's happened in the last few years. Now, with every businesses around the world, Airbnb or short-term rental market was hit really bad. Now, if you think about it, there was a percentage of traveling where tourism was hit, hospitality was hit, but at the same time, I can talk to you about UK market very well, because there was over 70%, 60-70% of operators still being creative around the NHS worker, hospital workers, key workers. These people still needed properties or short-term rental properties around the UK while everything or the world was stopping. So one of the things we always say is being creative always helps. As a result of that, it actually really helped Airbnb perform well in UK market. Now, there was a month or two when Airbnb decided to close their calendar, and as a result of that, that also helped a lot of short-term rental owners to think about creative ways to create marketing. So I think one of the things I do want to talk about is that comeback they've made this year. Now, the second topic is they want to add more hosts, and as a result, they want to add more properties in their books. Now, look, I think one of the biggest thing I love about Airbnb is they are fair around both host as well as guest. And without host, their business wouldn't survive or wouldn't run. So I think one of the biggest thing with the shares perspective, if you realize that the more and more people recently, property investors, people who want to be property entrepreneurs, they are looking to turn around their portfolio into short-term rentals and Airbnb. The first thing they do is they go and list their properties in Airbnb. So every time you now see a kind of a little button which says new, or a little icon that says new on Airbnb profile, you can tell there are a new listing in your investment area, or in your area that you leave, or an area that you're about to visit. So look, the more host and the property joins, obviously it's going to impact and value the shares. And likely I said to you earlier that home sharing model, again, Airbnb has different ways people do Airbnbs or short-term rental, but it's proven resilient around Airbnb in the little pandemic that we've had. So according to what we know, obviously the sharing of the rooms, people do let their rooms as a Airbnb. Obviously that's probably stopped a little bit, but because the market has turned around to create apart hotels, people who turn big blocks into apart hotels and put them on Airbnb, all that kind of one unit service apartments, they are now really working well for people all over the world, be tourists, be business travelers. In the UK, we're having a lot of relocations within clients within the UK, but also we're getting a lot of people coming from abroad for relocation. So it's working really, really well. As a result, again, the more the revenue that Airbnb makes, the shares are looking very tight. So two things here from an investor perspective, right? So investors are really looking at Airbnb as a disruption in travel industry, right? A few years ago, yes, Airbnb was great. A few years later, Airbnb's taken over. A few years later, I think Airbnb is really going to take over the market around travel and tourism, which at this moment in time, this is why more and more people or more and more investors are actually being creative two ways. They're turning their properties into short-term rentals, and they're also buying shares on Airbnbs, which is going to affect them both ways, right? So they're also making properties, or their properties make more money or more cash flow, doing the right thing in their business. But also they're taking shares out in Airbnb to allow them grow their business and also have some passive income and longevity hold in their shares. Now let's talk about, I think from an investor perspective, this is a company that can disrupt the travel industry again. You know, again and again I talk about this, but I think in a few years later, when the industry is again going back into that full swing of travel and tourism, vacations, tourist people traveling, I think again Airbnb is going to see another huge rise on their revenue. As a result of that, their shares are going to go up. Now guys, again, this is not a financial advice, but what I would say is, look, have a read through a lot of stuff around Airbnb and their shares, and look, we are heavily looking around why and how the industry is going to be obviously growing in the next few weeks and months and years. But more importantly, I can only talk with the facts of revenues that we have personally worked with on clients. You know, we're working on clients who's hit £1 million on revenue through Airbnb. Obviously, they've got a lot of properties. Now, there's our management company who takes properties for management for other people, as well as they've got their own to and rent to service accommodation and short-term rental properties. But you know, that clearly shows that we have, you know, I can definitely tell you that we've been involved in millions and millions of pounds of revenues for clients and their accounts, and we've also contributed. And this is where GrowYourBnB comes, is we look at what guests want. As much as I love working with hosts, at the end of the day, guests, and they're, you know, your clients, they're the one who pays you money. They're the one who actually pays you what for your business. So at the end of the day, these are the people that we need to look after. So guys, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share, and we will be back with another video soon.